Certainly Josh dealt with some turnovers yesterday and leads the league this season in turnovers. Have you noticed a pattern when he kind of gets off the rails a little bit, turning the football over with him? Is it consistently the same issue, or are there different circumstances for each?
No, I think there's different circumstances. There's things that, come up that are in our control, and there's things that come up that are out of our control at times. So, I think it's definitely something where we look back and each week and we try to correct and we try to learn to make sure those things that are within our control don't happen, and move forward to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best chance and best opportunity to move down and score points.
I know I'm pretty sure you've been asked about this multiple times, but what is the juggling with him in terms of not wanting to take away his incredible playmaking ability, like escaping sacks or making plays that you usually, from a coaching standpoint, would say don't ever do that, while also reeling him in to limit putting the ball in harm's way in those opportunities?
Well, it's a great question, and I think it's a balancing act that you deal with anytime you have great football players, and especially at the quarterback position, because there's times where you have to try to fit a ball in a tight window, or take a chance on a play because you got a one-on-one matchup with one of your better receivers on a DB or whatever those situations are. So it's always a balancing act, no matter, I think, who the quarterback is, when you have confidence in that guy, and you have confidence in him and his playmaking ability, and you have the confidence to, if we do make a mistake, come back the next play and still throw a pass. And I think that's where we're at with Josh. But I do agree, and I think it is making sure that we are playing smart, not conservative. And there's times where we do want to take those opportunities, and there's times where it's, hey, let's check it down, or whatever the situation might be. So it's a constant battle of making sure we're trusting our eyes, trusting what we see, trusting our progressions, and playing a caliber of ball that gives us the best opportunity to win.
And lastly, for me, on the flip side, are there also times where you have to encourage him, don't be too conservative, where maybe the turnovers pile up and he's thinking, now I have to be super smart with this? How does the conversation flip in those instances?
Yeah, and I think that's where Josh has really grown up a ton since when I first got here till now. And I think early on in his career, when he would have something like that happen, it's like you feel that it affects him. I think he does a great job now of really learning from things and still playing confident. And I think that's what you have to do as a quarterback. It's you've got to constantly play confident, because you could be one of 30 and have an opportunity, a 2-minute drive to go win a game, and you better be at your best. And I think that's a great thing that Josh has, is that ability to still, no matter what's happened in the course of the game, be at his best when we need him in critical situations.
Thanks, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Dorsey, Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports Cincinnati, man. Good win yesterday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Josh was sacked 7 times yesterday and under pressure a lot. How are you going to relieve that pressure when he's sitting in the pocket? Is it him not having the time, or is it the plays isn't just developing quick enough in your eyes?
I think there's a combination of some different things, and I think the way that the game was being played kind of dictated some of those things, and kind of the aggressiveness in what you play with, and so I think there's definitely some things we could do to help that, in order to take some of that pressure off, and then there's definitely some execution things that we can make sure we're doing better as well.
Absolutely, Coach. And how important was it for Gabe to step up with the rest of the receiving corps who contribute, but not forgetting your money wide receiver in Diggs at times?
Yeah, I think it's huge for an offense anytime you have multiple weapons and you have multiple guys that you can attack with and that a defense has to account for. Obviously Steph is one of the best players in the National Football League and an important part of our offense. And but I think it helps Steph out a lot when other guys can step up and really make plays around him, to alleviate some of that from, focus as well. So, we definitely are trying to always make sure we're staying balanced on how we're attacking teams, and putting our guys in the best position to have success.
No doubt, Coach. And your thoughts on this Bengals defense, and what will it take to win some battles on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously a veteran group, has been together a long time, and at this point in the season, even their young guys are not young anymore. So it's a tough group. They get after you, and they give you some different looks, and at the same time, there's not a lot of things that they do that's very unsound either. They're sound in what they do, and aggressive in their approach. So it's a great challenge for us, and obviously taking it one day at a time in our preparation, and be ready to go come Sunday.
Absolutely, Coach. Have a great week of practice, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Coach Dorsey, Pat Freeman from the Buffalo Criterion. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I had a question, as brief as the last meeting was with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
You did drive the ball on them in your first drive and scored 3 points. Are you totally going to scrap that game plan, or are you just going to look at this as a whole on how you should attack this Bengals defense?
Well, obviously we're going to go back and use that as our kind of outline of what we want to do, because there was a lot of plays we didn't run, that are still applicable. We just got to make sure, it's stuff that, we haven't run in the past 2 games as well, so we just got to make sure we're keeping things a little bit different, keeping things off, trying to keep them off balance with our looks, at the same time not trying to reinvent the wheel with a game plan that we already had up.
My last question to you, Coach. I know playing teams twice is a great challenge. Playing 3 times, as the last 2 games yesterday, with the Ravens and the Bengals and yourself and the Dolphins, it seemed that the Ravens had a tremendous amount of success running the football. Were you able to take a look at that? And is that something that you can use to your advantage this week?
I think, when you look at that game and Baltimore against, Cincy throughout the year, obviously it's very different styles of offense, and different ways that they attack teams than we attack teams at times. So I definitely think there's some things that we can use looking at those tapes, and things that we could definitely attack them with from a run game standpoint. But at the same time, it's very different schematic type teams and personnel wise and scheme wise. So I think there's a balancing act of what they did and not losing our identity as well.
Well, thank you, Coach, and good luck to you on this week.
Thank you.
Hey, Ken, I wanted to first follow up on some of what you were just saying about the game plan for Cincinnati, having faced them so recently. When you guys knew based off the seeding that there was a good chance that you guys would face them again so quickly, did that kind of change? Did you hold anything out game plan wise the last couple games, knowing it might be good to bring it back against Cincinnati, or was there anything that games in between?
Honestly, there's things that weren't applicable for those 2 weeks, but then at the same time, those are 2 important games for us. So, we didn't want to lose out on maybe a play that was going to help us win a football game that whether it was an important game in the last game of the year or a playoff game, in order to save it. So, we'll take a look and make sure that anything that we can carry over that we haven't used, we're definitely going to carry over, and anything conceptually that we feel good about going into the game, we'll take a look at and see if it's something that we can do and give some different looks.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then to jump a bit, I know you talked some already about, today and throughout the season, you've talked about your general philosophy of smart, not conservative. I was wondering if you could take me specifically through, though, the first drive of the 4th quarter for y'all, right after starting with the 2 deep shots to Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
Kind of what was the thought process on that drive? What were you guys seeing?
Yeah, I think, the first one, came down to a call that was based off of, the situation of them playing the sticks a little bit there. And we thought we had a good opportunity with to try to get a chunk there for us to really help us kind of alleviate where we were and get us going right there. So I thought the first one, we had a good protection with it, and we're able to create a one-on-one matchup right there and get a step. We just, we're off on the throw. The second one, I think, that was one where, you learn from a little bit there. If a situation where it was we're trying to make sure we're getting ourselves into the best play at the line of scrimmage, with some different options, while at the same time, could definitely give it a more of a, possession pass potentially right there as well. You just don't want to become predictable in kind of some of the things you do as well. It's, you don't want to take a shot and then, necessarily the next play, force yourself into a handoff or a possession pass. You want to keep a defense off balance. At the same time, there is a time and a place. So, situation of the game, I think, can dictate those things a lot of times. And it's something we'll look back on and learn from. And I think going forward, give ourselves maybe some other answers.
Thanks, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Good afternoon, Coach Dorsey. George Radney, Challenger Community News.
Hi, George.
All right. Hope you're having a good day.
Not bad.
All right. Questions for you. One is, I was just wondering, when you see Josh might be struggling in the passing game, is there any reason where you might change the plan a little bit and go to the run a little more? Because it seemed like the running game, the guys looked like they were ready to run. They were running well, 4.3 yards and 3 for James Cook and 3-point-something yards for Devin Singletary. Just wondering, how come these guys don't get more touches in these games?
Well, one, I think, I didn't have the sense that, we were below, I really didn't think we had the sense of, we needed to lose balance in what we were doing. I felt like we could still do things in the run and pass game and make sure that we were still attacking a defense in multiple ways throughout that game. And I didn't think we needed to lose that at the time. I thought, Josh was seeing things, playing confident, and doing some really good things out there for us that put us in a great position to have an opportunity to win the game. So I wanted to make sure that we were still attacking a defense in multiple different ways. And then, at the same time, coming up at the end there in 4-minute situation, being able to finish it off with the run game was big for us.
Yes, indeed, at that time. I was wondering, when it was 17-0, any thought to say, hey, let's run this clock, let's get some more clock going, and by running the football, that would be situational football?
I think, I do think when it was 17-0, there was still a lot of game left to be played. You're talking, still in the first half, early in the second half, or really, in the first half, you're still in the first half of the football game. So there's still a lot of game to be played. And I think at that point, you're calling your normal offense and, utilizing your weapons and trying to keep a defense off balance, by being multiple and by being, able to attack in different ways like we were doing.
Yes, indeed. And last quick question for you. The last Cincinnati game, on that first drive of the game, the guys were running the ball. Cook took it in, took like a 6-yard run. You got it inside the 10. Second and third down, you went with passes. I'm just wondering, and when you get into that deep into the red zone, any consideration to go to and play power football like the Ravens did last night and just run over those guys?
Well, it's hard to run over guys in the NFL. It's not an easy thing to do. And the tighter you get, the more guys are at the line of scrimmage. So we're going to do things and make sure, again, we're attacking teams, and we've done that throughout the course of the year. We've gone down there and we've played some physical ball and been able to run it in on teams. And, we've gone down there and we've been able to execute the pass game on teams. So I do think, again, it's an opportunity to make sure you're not lopsided one direction or the other in terms of the run or pass game.
All right. Thank you very much. Good luck this coming Sunday. Personally, I hope to see more running, but hey, good luck this coming Sunday.
Thank you.
Hey, Ken, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. I was having audio issues last week.
Oh, no worries.
There was a report out that you had interviewed with Carolina, and I know that this kind of stuff comes up at the, worst time of year. But I'm interested to know how you're approaching that as a first-year offensive coordinator with potential head coaching opportunities, like what you're focused on during the week, coupled with having to kind of sell yourself for potential jobs. How do you approach that?
To be perfectly honest with you, it's my focus is pretty much 100% on us and this team here in Buffalo right now and winning a football game. And, those things all I feel like take care of itself. If you're focused on your current job and you're focused on the things that you need to do, football wise, because, not many coaches are getting hired off of, 1-win teams, 2-win teams, whatever it might be. It's one of those things where I've always believed that, those things come if you're doing your job to the best of your ability, and then, when those interviews and things like that happen, you go and be yourself and you're honest about things and, and if they like it, great. If not, then, it is what it is, but you always try to make sure that your focus is 100% on, not shortchanging, the guys who you've, poured their heart and soul into a year. And, no matter what the situation is, I think that, whoever opportunities there are down the road, those people, I think, understand that because they would want their coaches to be in the same, have the same philosophy, I would hope.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Ken, I had a couple more. I was wondering first about Roger Saffold. Just, I know he has now been here for a while, but just, I think when a veteran guy can come to a new team, they can approach it a lot of different ways. What have you seen both from, getting here and throughout his whole time of what he's done to kind of weave himself in and, be supportive of guys throughout the offense?
Yeah, he's just really kind of stepped in and been a great veteran presence for us on the offensive line, because we've got a really good mix there of some younger guys, some older guys, some guys in the middle of their career. So it's a really good mix, of age range and personality, and it's really gelled together in a great way. And I think him next to Dion, he's been able to really be a voice for Dion to kind of talk, and those guys are really gelled together, and you see that, I think, in their play on the left side of the line. So, he's been great from that leadership standpoint and that kind of anchor in the middle standpoint, as well from a production standpoint for us.
And then was curious just about the split in snaps between James Cook and Devin Singletary, just that it's closer to 50-50. What has been behind that?
Yeah, I think it's just that they're both playing really good football for us. And they're both, two guys that we trust so much to be in the game, so sometimes it's just kind of the way drives are going a little bit dictates some of those things. It's the luck of the draw a little bit, kind of whose series it is and that type of thing. And then sometimes it's we've got certain guys tagged on plays that are just getting called a little bit more than others. But I do think at the same time, though, we've got a lot of faith in both those guys that no matter what the situation is, we feel very comfortable with either one of them being in the game.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all for today. Thanks, Ken.
All right. Thank you, guys.